G'day mate, I'm Greg and this is The Dark Side. But before we get started, make sure you smash that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on the great content I'll be uploading every Saturday, just like this. G'day mate, today we're counting down 10 creepy stories about your child's imaginary friend. So let's get started. In the number 10 slot we have Reddit user The Hamburglar, who said, during childbirth I had complications. I almost died and my daughter actually did. They revived her and we've been happy and healthy ever since. Since being an infant, she's always looked around like she was watching something and just giggling at it. Fast forward to the age of 4 and she tells me about her first imaginary friend, Ghosty. All of her imaginary friends are ghosts. To this day she still talks to them at the age of 7. Some of her stories just give me the spooks. Unsure if they are real or not, but I am always sure to be kind to my daughter's ghost friends and invite them along with us. Number 9 is from Reddit user the W83, who said, in the past I have seen things out of the corner of my eye and glanced to see nothing there. Of course that's just my eyes being weird and I stopped paying attention to them. Well, my daughter is just a toddler and I had her sitting in my lap reading a book. I see something in the corner of my eye as usual and my daughter quickly looks over there. She then stares wide-eyed at nothing and watches it cross through the room. This happened 3 times. She's not at the point to where she can communicate what she's looking at, but we are pretty close. If it happens again, I'll ask her what she sees. Maybe you don't want to know, Mum. Number 8 is from Reddit user Lady Mirkwood, who says, when my daughter was small, she used to ask me to tie her wardrobe handles together at night so the dragon-faced lady can't get out. After a while she stopped asking and said a different lady came and now it was okay. This time the lady she described was my grandmother, who died when my daughter was only 4 months old. Coming in at number 7 is Reddit user Open Currency 1947, and he says, our youngest daughter one time asked us to keep our bedroom door open because her imaginary friend couldn't open doors. We laughed at it and laughed it off that she was just afraid and wanted to be able to see us or know we were home if she woke up in the middle of the night. But the next day I casually asked what her friend did at night, and she said she liked to stand at the end of our bed and watch us sleep. Creep alert number 1. We asked how often she speaks with her, and she said she really only likes to talk and come out at night. Creep alert number 2. We asked, can you draw a picture of her? She did, and we asked what was up with her smile, and she said she had really sharp teeth and a lump on her head. Eventually we got a dog and she told us her friend didn't like the dog because he stared at her at night. We eventually moved and her friend didn't come with us, but our daughter said she'd probably find us. That was 8 years ago and we haven't heard about her since we moved. Count your lucky stars. Counting down to number 6 now, we have Reddit user Spiritual Jaguar 4685, who says, my older daughter started having nightmares suddenly that lasted for a few weeks. Every night she would be inconsolable about how there were parents in her room watching her at night. Each night more parents. They were tall, they were thin, they were dark and creepy and wore tattered clothes. We had no idea what the hell, but we were like, well, I guess we need a priest. Then we saw some scarecrows at a harvest fair and she said, look Dad, parents. Okay. Coming in at number 5 is Reddit user Eltharian the Grim, who says, the most recent was when I finished bathing my 3-year-old. I was putting her clothes on when she said the boy went into the bedroom already and pointed to my open bedroom door. I asked who the boy was. She said it was her friend. I left it at that and forgot all about it. A few days later I walked out of the kitchen and saw a child dash through to our bedroom from the corner of my eyes. My daughter was in daycare at the time and I was home alone. It felt pretty freaky, I was thinking I must have hallucinated, but I did the only thing I could think of. I walked to the room entrance and said, "We're a good family, and our daughter is a very good girl. Try not to scare her. We're all friendly." Then I turned on all the lights because that crap scared me silly. Reddit user LMAOWYF is at number 4 on our list, and they said, "My younger brother had an imaginary friend called the Shadow Man. He was a shadow who hung out with him. Occasionally we did hear him talking and laughing in his room alone, and when we'd check on him, he'd be staring at a dark corner and say the Shadow Man was with him. One day he ran out of his room screaming, saying the Shadow Man was being mean to him. We moved not long after that and never heard of the Shadow Man again. Aren't you lucky? If it was up to me, I'd leave the lights on to kill the shadows, but then light makes shadows so possible, so maybe that's not such a good idea." Okay, coming in at number 3 is Christmas Panda, who said, "We used to live in an old farmhouse. My younger sister, who was 8 at the time, was having a tea party and talking to an empty chair. My brother and I asked her who she was talking to, and she said, 'The little boy who lives in the attic.' Okay, time to screw the old attic door shut, kids. Trust me on this." Number 2 is Reddit user Riot, who said, "When my grandparents moved out of their old house, which we all had an inkling was haunted, my grandmother asked my 7-year-old cousin what she would miss most about the old house. Her response? 'I'll miss the little girl that would play games with me in my bedroom at night time.' We didn't have another little girl in the family." And finally, in the number 1 slot is Alex Geekspeak, who says, "My daughter started saying Bob before she learnt how to say Mama or Dada. She would say it all the time at random times. One time I was in the nursery rocking her to sleep when she said it, and so I asked, 'Who's Bob?' And that's when she pointed up at the corner of the ceiling behind me." Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed my channel, please subscribe and hit the like button. And as promised, I'll be uploading again each and every Saturday. Cheers, mate.